Okay, so today's gonna be kind of quick, guys. And this is the way every Friday is gonna be working. Instead of having our work days on Wednesday in the middle of the week, we're kind of gonna have it on Fridays. So this is gonna be the last time that I'll actually assign or tell you about the assignment on the day that it's due. But normally what's gonna happen is by Thursday, you will have known all the assignments that are due on Friday, and then you will have that Friday to kind of work on your assignments. So today, basically, we're gonna utilize your social emotional learning skills to reflect on the COVID-19 response, to think critically in order to determine the best response for the COVID pandemic, and to build empathy by walking a mile in other people's shoes, especially in terms of considering the decisions made for the welfare of others. So I'm going to do a brief recap of social emotional learning. Just a reminder, these are all the things that are due tonight. The COVID 2021 school year survey. You're going to find that in Wednesday. My learning style, the teacher's teaching styles, that was from yesterday, and then flipping the script reflections, okay? They're all due by 11:59 tonight. And if you have any questions on that, you need to let me know, okay? So basically, for today, so this week, we've been learning on social and emotional learning. We strengthen our social and self-awareness by reflecting on the COVID pandemic and how it impacted academics, but we also kind of talked about what happened with the Capitol. So we were doing social awareness with that. We continue to build our self-awareness as well as self-management, responsible decision-making, and relationship-building skills by determining our learning styles and considering how teachers teach, and then we analyze how those two relate to each other and pondered the steps we could take to improve our learning process. So I am hoping that you guys found out some good information about how you learn, and also maybe some understanding of how teachers tend to teach. So what we're going to do is really hone in on the social emotional skills of social awareness and responsible decision making by walking a mile in others' shoes. Have you guys ever heard that statement, to walk a mile? Okay, it's a really good way to start building empathy, and I really want you guys to think about it. So again, what it basically is I'm very much somebody that has done this. I have griped a lot about the response to COVID, right? Whether that's on the national level, whether that's the state level, even city level, and then of course school level, right? The different schools I have griped and complained. But in reality, when I sat down and thought about it, a lot goes into making those decisions, right? It's not like they're me and I just have to worry about my two kids, right? And then my students. So what I want us to do is kind of flip the script, and we are going to become those people that are making the decisions. But let me explain the assignment to you. You are going to do it in a Word document in MLA format. If you forgot what MLA format looks like, you can go ahead and click this link right here in the blue, and it'll let you know. It is due by tonight because there are 5 questions, but you're only going to choose 3 of them. And it's just a minimum of 5 sentences, okay? So basically what you're gonna do is step by step, follow the instructions. You're gonna read and consider the following reflection questions. So we're gonna flip the script, and you can either be the governor of Texas. So that means you're responsible for the physical and economic health of every citizen in Texas, and we're pretty big. How are you going to handle the state's response to the COVID pandemic? Do you shut the state down? Do you keep it open? What supports do your citizens need, right? And think about that in terms of economic health, right? Like when we close all these businesses, what does it do, right? What does it do to the citizens in general to be trapped at home? You are now the superintendent of Killeen ISD. You're in charge of every elementary, middle, and high school, as well as every teacher and student within the Killeen area. How do you handle the schools and the student learning during the pandemic? Do you keep them open? Do you keep them closed? Do you have everybody learn in person, virtually, or hybrid? And when you're thinking of that, I don't want you just to think of it. Remember, you're going to be the superintendent, but think about the impacts it's had on you as a student, and then also the way that we've been learning, okay? You're now me in all my brilliance and excellence. You teach 90+ students and must ensure they all pass the English Star in March. How do you provide English instruction during the pandemic, right? What will the class look like? And what supports do my students need? And I definitely want you to think about, when looking at what the class looks like, remember that I have to meet in-student person needs and virtual needs. How do you do that? Also remember, as a teacher, I am responsible for you guys turning in stuff. I get in trouble, or they gripe at me if you guys aren't turning things in, or if you're failing. So think about trying to get kids to turn things in. Is hard enough in person, much less when they're not physically in front of me and I can't nag them all the time, okay? You're now your parents. You're responsible for the financial, academic, and emotional well-being of yourself and your children. How will you ensure your children get the supports they need while also ensuring that they do well academically? What do your children need that they normally wouldn't, and how would you support them in all aspects of their life, okay? So, for example, I have 2 children. One is 18, he went off to the Navy, so I don't really have to worry too much about that one. But Tristan, my wild child, he stayed home for the first semester. Well, he's in elementary, and think about how hard that was, trying to make sure he did all his work, make sure that he was doing everything, make sure that we're financially stable enough, because prices did go up. There's a lot of things that we can't do. So think about all those things. And then also the aspect he stayed home for a whole semester, which meant he had nobody to play with. He's the youngest person in our family by many, many, many years. So he had no children to play with. And then you can also choose, you are now you. You are now armed with almost a school year's worth of experience in being a student during a pandemic, which most people do not know what that's like. In addition to being equipped with social and emotional skills and now understanding how you learn. How will you succeed emotionally and academically during yet another semester during the COVID pandemic? What changes would you make from the first semester to the second semester, okay? So again, you're only gonna be choosing 3 of them, just 3. I don't want answers to all of them. And you have to have a minimum of 5 complete sentences. And I say complete because sometimes you'll give me some wonky sentences, okay? I don't want mid-thought sentences. They need to be complete and grammatically correct. And they must be coherent, which means they make sense, because sometimes I'm like, I feel like I'm reading a different language. And cohesive, which means they need to connect to one another. I don't want you jumping around, right? You guys really need to start working on making sure that your sentences flow together. Use spell and grammar check before you submit it to me. And then the way you're going to save it is flipping reflections, and you're going to underscore your last name, first name. So it makes it easier, just in case I download it, I'll be able to find it easier, okay? And then you'll upload the document by tonight. So again, there are 3 things that are due by tonight. You need to complete the survey. You need to complete your discussion board from yesterday, and then this flipping the scripts. They are all 3 separate grades, okay? And they should be relatively easy. I've explained them, but if you have any questions, just let me know, all right? Any other questions? We all good? Cool. All right, you have the day to work on it, and let me know if you need anything.